it's so hard to know exactly what President-elect Trump will do.
I mean, trade is a very, very complex issue. It can cut both ways.
But he's talked an awful lot about a lot of things and somewhat contradictory about those things, too.
We're not sure exactly what Mr. Trump's plans are.
Does this mean a change at the Federal Reserve? Who will be the Treasury Secretary? There are just so many questions.
Trying to answer those questions was the goal of the City Club of Youngstown's second forum.
I'm a Campbell Memorial graduate, so it's just really nice to be back in Youngstown.
Marilyn G. Wax, national business editor for NPR in Washington, was one of the panelists.
Having something as unknowable as this to go from sort of 8 steady years of a particular view of policy to such a radical change to, or maybe not radical change, we just don't know exactly what's going to happen.
The panel also included YSU political scientist Paul Sarasic.
Well, we'll see what he does.
And Karen Kassler, bureau chief for the Ohio State House, who spent the day talking to area voters.
They knew this was coming, and the rest of the state and maybe the rest of the country missed it. Talked to Dave Beatrice, the Mahoning County Democratic Party chair, who said he had been waving his arms desperately trying to get the Democratic Party to pay attention to what was going on here.
Particularly in the Rust Belt states. You know, he ran on trade.
Panelists agreed one of the places President-elect Trump will look to have an impact is trade.
He's rejected TPP, but he hasn't exactly told us what he doesn't like. There was an exchange during the Fox News debate where, you know, he talked about currency manipulation, and he doesn't like China and currency manipulation, to which Rand Paul replied, Donald, China is not in the TPP.
We've already seen one consequence. I mean, he's still, months away from taking office, and already the Trans-Pacific Partnership deal is dead.
We export over $3 billion worth of products from this region every year. So, if we start a trade war, for example, what will that do to the exporting industries in the Mahoning Valley?
Another topic discussed was the impact of cabinet appointments.
The other position, I think, is U.S. Trade Representative. Given how important trade is, who is he going to put in that position?
As far as the Supreme Court, I think there will be a lot of antitrust cases. If you've been paying attention to business news at all, there have been a lot of mergers lately. A whole lot of mergers are out there, and I think a lot of media mergers, which makes me a little nervous.
Among the list of conservative Supreme Court justices that he agreed to pick from, he's got to find somebody who is pro-LGBT, and also anti-abortion. So he's kind of pigeonholed himself into some of these picks by what he's been saying.
The panel also fielded questions from the audience.
My wife and I were followed by an Austrian journalist and an Austrian photojournalist for 4 days prior to the election. They were sent here to cover specifically the Mahoning Valley. And even talking afterwards to the journalist, he said it was difficult for him to remain objective.
If you think about the Constitution, the one job that really is protected by the very first amendment is the role of journalists. Now imagine if you were a school teacher and a candidate stood up and every day said, they're nasty people, they're the worst people, teachers are horrible, teachers, people chanting, kill the teachers. It would be pretty hard for you as a teacher to not feel a little bit negative towards that. So I understand that there is a lot of people out there in Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan that are really hurting and had a lot of frustration. So in a way I wasn't entirely surprised, but still it's a shock.
John Kasich did actually call Donald Trump and congratulate him. So that shows that there may be a little bit of movement there, but certainly Kasich is looking ahead. And I think he's maybe thinking that if Trump doesn't do well, that in 2020 there's still an opening for him, which would be pretty extraordinary to challenge a sitting president in a primary, but it has been done before.
So, we'll see what he does and what the side effects are of what he does.